Let us discuss about different forms of stored energy. In earlier concept, we have discussed that if you supply some amount of heat to any closed system, then it does some work. But the work which it does by the system will always be less than the heat which we have added. And rest of the energy will be stored as energy in a system. Okay. The symbol E refers to the total energy stored in a system. Basically, there are two modes in which energy may be stored in a system. Okay, we know that energy will be stored in a closed system if you supply some amount of work and when it does some work. That stored energy will be stored in two forms or two modes. One is macroscopic energy mode and another one is microscopic energy mode. The macroscopic energy mode includes the macroscopic kinetic energy and potential energy of a system. We already know that expression for kinetic energy is m v square by 2. And another energy, the macroscopic potential energy EP, by virtue of its position, that can be given by m into g into z. M represents mass of the system, g gravitational constant, and z is elevation or height from the ground. So this is the macroscopic energy mode in which energy will be stored in a system. And next, microscopic energy mode. The microscopic energy mode refers to the energy stored in the molecular and atomic structure of the system. I repeat, the microscopic energy mode refers to the energy stored in the molecular and atomic structure of the system, which is called molecular internal energy or simply internal energy U. Okay. We know that energy will be stored in a system in two modes. One is macroscopic energy mode and another one is microscopic energy mode. Macroscopic energy mode includes kinetic energy of the system or potential energy of the system. When you talk about microscopic energy mode, that will be energy stored in the molecular and atomic structure of the system, which is called molecular internal energy, or simply we can call it as internal energy. That symbol we will use to represent microscopic energy is U. Okay. Then the total energy E which is stored in the system can be given by macroscopic energy plus microscopic energy. Macroscopic energy EK, kinetic energy plus potential energy, plus microscopic energy, I will use the U, capital letter U, to represent microscopic energy mode. So let us call this equation as 1, where EP and EK and U refers to the kinetic energy, potential and internal energy of a respective system. In the absence of motion and gravity, so when you talk about thermodynamics, most of the time the kinetic energy and potential energy will be 0 of a given system. Then if you put kinetic energy and potential energy as 0, then energy stored E in the system is equal to internal energy or microscopic energy which is stored in a system. And now this equation becomes, first law of thermodynamics becomes Q equal to delta E plus W, call it as equation 2. This equation becomes delta U plus W. When delta E becomes delta U is when kinetic energy and potential energy of the system is 0, then the energy stored in a system is equal to energy of a molecular or atomic structure of the system. Then the first law of thermodynamics becomes Q equal to delta U plus W. This delta U represents energy stored in molecular or atomic structure of a system. In continuation with the last slide, in the differential form, equation 2 and equation 3 becomes dq plus de plus dw, call it as equation 4, then dq plus du plus dw, where this dw is pdv work, it is a sum of dw is work done by the system. Work done by the system can be a sum of pdv work, shaft work or electrical work or any other forms of work. When only pdv work is present, the equation becomes, when pdv means displacement work is present and all the rest of the works are absent, then equation 4 becomes dq plus de plus pdv dq equal to du plus pdv, or in the integral form the equation becomes q equal to delta E plus integration of pdv, q equal to delta u plus integration of pdv. So this is how the first law of thermodynamics becomes. Enthalpy of a given system can be defined as the enthalpy of a substance H is defined as the sum of internal energy and product of pressure and volume. I repeat, the enthalpy of a substance H is defined as the sum of internal energy U and product of pressure and volume of a given system can be defined as enthalpy of particular system or a substance. For an ideal gas, the enthalpy becomes PV equal to R into T. Okay, these are the two expressions we need to remember. Basically, we need to remember what do we mean by enthalpy. Enthalpy of a given substance or a system can be defined as the sum of internal energy of a system and product of pressure and volume of a given system can be defined as enthalpy. For an ideal gas, this expression turns like this: instead of PV, which is equal to R into T. And for ideal gas, will more in the coming unit. Energy of an isolated system. An isolated system is one in which there is no interaction of the system with surroundings. I repeat, in isolated system or isolated system will never interact with its surrounding. So that is the reason why we will call it as isolated system, which is isolated from the surrounding. For an isolated system, dW is equal to 0 and dq equal to 0, which means that there is no work transfer and heat transfer involved between system and surrounding. That is the reason why dW equal to 0 and dq equal to 0. Then the first law of thermodynamics becomes for isolated system is dE equal to constant, because in first law of thermodynamics expression dq equal to delta E plus dq. If both dW and dq becomes 0, then only remaining term is dE, which is equal to 0. When dE equal to 0 means that E equal to constant, which means that energy of an isolated system is constant. So from this we can prove that the energy of an isolated system is always constant. Very important term we need to prove here is, they will ask in examination, energy of an isolated system will be constant, because in isolated system will not interact with the surrounding. When system will not interact with the surrounding, then dW equal to 0 and dq equal to 0. That is the reason why energy of an isolated system will be equal to constant. Now let us apply first law of thermodynamics for different quasi-static process. Okay, we have already discussed about what do we mean by quasi-static process. Quasi-static means controlled process. Okay, then let us apply first law of thermodynamics for isobaric process. Isobaric process is pressure is constant, so P equal to constant. So according to first law of thermodynamics, by neglecting the kinetic energy and potential energy, for isobaric process the expression becomes Q1 to 2, which is equal to delta U plus W1 to 2. For isobaric process, the pressure will be constant throughout the process. For isobaric process, the expression for first law of thermodynamics follows like this. Then isochoric process. Isochoric process means volume will be constant throughout the process. You can observe in the PV diagram here, throughout the process the volume is constant. The line is perpendicular to the x-axis, which is volume axis. Then if you apply this condition, constant volume condition, into the first law of thermodynamics, then this becomes W1 to 2 is 0, because this W1 to 2 is nothing but PdV work. When volume is constant, then PdV work will be 0. Why PdV work is 0 means D into V, change in the volume is 0 means then PdV work will be 0. Then the first law of thermodynamics becomes Q1 to 2, energy heat transfer involved in the system is equal to change in energy, change in internal energy of a system. So this is what the expression for isochoric process. Then isothermal process. Isothermal process is nothing but temperature of a system will be constant throughout the process, or constant temperature we can also write it as PV equal to constant. Then we have, let us apply this condition in first law of thermodynamics. This is the first law of thermodynamics. Then internal energy of a system can also be written like this: mcv into dt. dt is change in the temperature plus work transfer involved in the system. Then apply T equal to C condition. T equal to C means constant temperature condition in this expression. When temperature is constant, change in internal energy, which means that stored energy will be zero. Then for isothermal process, first law of thermodynamics is work transfer is equal to heat transfer. Then adiabatic process. The condition for adiabatic process is PV to the power gamma is equal to constant, or another condition for adiabatic process is when adiabatic process exists, then there is the heat transfer between system and surrounding. Okay, for adiabatic process there will not be any heat transfer between system and surrounding. Okay, but there can be a work transfer. So applying this condition into the first law of thermodynamics, so then the first law of thermodynamics becomes, when there is no heat transfer, then this term becomes zero. When this term becomes zero, then the first law of thermodynamics for adiabatic process is change in internal energy is equal to work transfer involved in the system. This is what the expression for first law of thermodynamics for adiabatic process. Now let us discuss about, or let us apply, or let us see what will be the expression for first law of thermodynamics in case of polytropic process. Polytropic process is the process which follows this expression. Okay, PV to the power n, which is equal to constant. So in any polytropic process, this expression should be hold good. This n is polytropic constant. This n value changes for different process. Okay, PV to the power n, which is equal to 0. Now we have first law of thermodynamics, Q1 to 2 equal to delta U plus W1 to 2. So this is the basic first law of thermodynamics we have. Here again, if you put in integration form, in differential form, dq equal to du plus dw, and once again if you want to write like this, you can write like this. Okay, then Q1 to 2 work transfer, heat transfer, which is equal to this delta U, change in internal energy expression is mcv into dt, plus W1 to 2 PdV expression for PdV work. So P1 V1 minus P2 V2 divided by n minus 1. This expression already we have proved. So PdV expression for PdV work. Then again rewrite the equation. Take, so the CV is expression for CV, we can write it as R divided by gamma minus 1 into dt plus P1 V1 minus P2 V2 put as it is. Then which is equal to mr T2 minus T1 divided by gamma minus 1 plus mr T1 minus T2 divided by gamma minus 1. This T2 minus T1 is nothing but change in the temperature. Remember this. Okay. So P1 V1 minus P2 V2 we can write in the form of temperature. PV is equal to mRT. So P, instead of P1 V1 I can replace it by mRT1. So I have taken mr outside the bracket. So T1 minus T2 by n minus 1. Then again Q1 to 2 heat transfer, which is equal to minus of mr T1 minus T2 gamma minus 1 plus, just I have rearranged the term. Again simplify this, mr T1 minus T2. So which is, this I have taken as common. Then inside the bracket minus 1 divided by gamma minus 1 plus 1 divided by n minus 1. So if you rearrange this term, the expression becomes like this. Then the final expression will be Q1 to 2 heat transfer, which is equal to gamma minus 1 divided by gamma minus 1 into polytropic work. This polytropic work is nothing but W1 to 2. This is the expression for polytropic process for first law of thermodynamics. Okay, this is the expression for first law of thermodynamics for polytropic process. Please, you have to remember and you have to practice the derivation also.